This is Entrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart. With your host, Terry Levine. Listen every week as Terry tackles the topics that will help you become a successful heart-centered entrepreneur. Be sure to read the blog posts at www.heartrepreneur.com/blog. Come back often and add this show to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also follow Terry on Twitter at MentorTerry and on Facebook.com/Heartrepreneur Terry Levine. And now here's Terry.
Hi, it's Terry Levine. Welcome back to Heartrepreneur Radio, Heartrepreneur TV, and really asking you to be present and to focus on anything that you may have done or said this week that sounded more like you were doing business transactionally. Meaning, oh, I just want another sale. I want somebody else to buy my products or services. Or you were talking at people instead of being a heartrepreneur. Heartrepreneurs fully listen. They offer products and services if appropriate, and if those products and services will give the buyer the real results they want and need. All right, you ready for another episode? Because I sure am. My guest today, Zee Najarian. She is a transformational speaker and she is an unshakable optimist. Man, do I love to hear that. She teaches women how to live a life that is authentic to who they are. Very entrepreneur-like, right? Zee has spent the last 15 years trying to get over there has to be more to life feeling. I remember having that feeling years ago. And after having different jobs, countless side gigs, getting multiple degrees, sounds like my life story, Zee, and serving on many nonprofit boards. Now, Zee uses her experience, her expertise to help others build a life that they love. I'm so excited to hear her tips and tools. Welcome to Heartrepreneur Radio and Television, Zee.
Thank you so much, Terry. I'm so excited to be here.
You know, it's so interesting because my background parallels yours so much. I really had no idea what I was doing. I owned business after business. I took job after job. I served on 4 nonprofit boards. I kept getting more initials after my name. And then about 25 years ago, I really had a wake-up call after I woke up one day and thought, what am I doing all of this for? What is the purpose of my life? And made all these changes. So what's your story? How did you get to where you are?
Yeah, so most of my life, I thought that really living a life that feels authentic to me means getting more degrees, getting a high-paying job, having that title, moving up in the corporate world. That's kind of how I grew up. Like my family told me, we'll give you shelter, we'll give you food, but your job is to graduate high school, get a degree, get a good paying job, have good benefits. You know, they immigrated to the United States. So for them, that was the dream, to have a good paying, stable job with good benefits. And so in that process, I never got to figure out who I really am. So I went throughout most of my teens and 20s just trying to do more, thinking if I do more, then I can be more and I'll have more worth in the world and I'll validate it and then I'll feel great. But the funny thing is, I remember my first job right out of high school. I was making like $20,000 a year. And I kept thinking, if I can only make 40,000, my life would be amazing. And then I got to that 40, and then it was, oh, I think I need to make 50, 60. And I kept saying that and saying that. And then if I can make 6 figures, it's going to be amazing. And I hit all of those milestones and I never felt any different, any more amazing. So then I had to really go on this journey and figure out, okay, what is it? I'm doing all these things society has told me will bring me joy, but I don't feel successful. My outer success doesn't match my feelings of inner success, and I don't feel like I'm living a life that's authentic to who I am.
Wow, that's so powerful. I watch so many of my friends kind of going through those same motions, right? They have career aspirations, they meet one, then it's an income aspiration or a promotion, or maybe I just need a new degree or a master's or a PhD, or maybe I need this certification. And I see them in this endless loop looking for something. And I feel very blessed that I have found for myself what's authentic and what represents me. So how did you find the answer for yourself?
So it really was kind of a chance encounter, even though I don't believe in luck or anything by chance, right? It was supposed to happen. I was on Facebook about like 6, 7 years ago, and an ad came across talking about how to start a business on Instagram. And I didn't even have Instagram at the time. I had no idea. I didn't even think I wanted to have my own business, nothing, right? But that kind of made me really curious. And so I followed that curiosity, and it was, I think, it was a free webinar, I think, and then it led to a $49 course. So I bought that, and in that course, there was a section about figuring out who you are and the things you like and what brings you joy so that you can create a business that connects better with your audience. And that little thing, that $49 course in that little section really just started everything for me. I really had no idea who I was. I grew up and I was told, okay, you have to go to school, you have to do this, you have to get this degree. And so I never got a chance to figure out what brings me joy. And that really started everything. And I think we teach what we really needed to learn the most, right? So I figured that out. I learned that. It took years. It was like a huge personal development journey. And so that's how I'm able to do the same thing.
Two things I heard in there that I love is that you became curious, right? Wasn't even on Instagram. You had curiosity. And the other thing is that you had openness. Like, I don't know, I'm going down this path, I'll explore it. And the other thing that really resonated, and I believe just like you, that everything is synchronistic, there are no accidents. I got into coaching and consulting. I was president of a national healthcare company, burned out, didn't like what I was doing, felt, the golden handcuffs to stay. I went away for a weekend to a mind, body, spirit expo because I just needed a change. And I sit next to a woman on the plane and I go, what do you do? And she goes, I'm a coach. And I go, what sport or what team, right? And she chuckles and she goes, no, business and life coaching. I'm like, what? We talked for a half an hour. By the time I'm off the plane, I'm all over the internet. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. I quit my job shortly after that. So there's no reason under the sun for me to have sat next to that woman, except for it was supposed to happen. And I was open and curious and open to conversation. So I love that. So I'm curious, how do people typically find you? And when they come to you, what is the exact problem they're saying that they have, Zee?
So I have my website. I'm at zeenajarian.com. I'm across all social media platforms at Zee Najarian, mostly really active on Instagram and Facebook. And so it's women. I coach women, and they have this feeling, kind of like I did, that there has to be more to life. Like nothing seems to be wrong in my life, but I don't feel fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And what I had is I kind of had guilt, right? I was like, people keep telling me, how can you complain? You have everything.
Oh my gosh.
You got a great job, you have a great family, you're making a lot of money. Why are you even looking for anything else? And so I felt guilty for a while. And so it's women like this who, maybe they have kids and they feel guilty, like I can't do anything on my own because I have this, or what is my family gonna think if I do that? But they just know they're made for something more. There has to be something else that's gonna help them live and create a life that's more authentic to who they are.
I get goosebumps when you say that. Two things come to mind. I remember wanting to quit my corporate job and telling a good friend of mine, I said, I'm so done with this, I want out. And she said, I can't believe you would say that. You're president of the largest national healthcare company. You make a lot of money. You have stock options, cars, perks. I'm so jealous of you. You've arrived. Why would you say that? So I did feel guilty. And then at the time, my father was living with us. And I said, I think I'm going to quit my corporate job. And my father went crazy. He's like, why would you do that? This is the pinnacle of your career. And I said, I'm so unhappy. I'm not satisfied. There's more to my life. And I don't want to go to the grave going, this is what I did. I know there's more. So I can relate to that. And I really want the audience just to be honest with yourself for a moment. Have you ever thought about, is there more? Can I do something where I'm making more of a contribution, where I'm being more authentic? In corporate America, I was not being authentic. I've shared the story in some blog posts where I was the only female in this corporation at a higher level. And so I traveled with the men, and the men wore pantsuits. I wore a pantsuit. The men smoked cigars. I smoked cigars. The men drank scotch. I drank scotch. It ended when I followed the group of men chatting on the streets of Florida, not paying attention to a doorway they entered, thinking we were going to grab a cocktail. And I looked around and it was a strip club. And I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm not being authentic. I'm trying to imitate these people and I'm not one of them. So that was my wake-up call. I hope that the folks watching our show and listening to you and reading the blog post can really have a wake-up call sooner. So you talk about being an unshakable optimist. I want to hear more about that and how more of us entrepreneurs can get that attitude and really live with that.
I think that this was probably, I can't believe a time that I wasn't this way. So it might also be something that I'm born with, right? But it's something you can learn. And all throughout my life, I've always thought that anything that's happened, I thought, oh, this is amazing, or it's going to be even more amazing. And my brother growing up used to tell me, you're disgustingly optimistic. And so... And
I love it.
I always knew that, okay, I'm a little different than most people, but this is how you can start looking at everything that way, right? So just start trusting the timing of your life and start trusting that you're not late for anything. Things don't happen to you, they're happening for you. How can you use what's happening to your advantage? And no doubt, awful things happen to people, right? I can't say, go around and be happy when something awful happens to you or someone you know. But how can we use that? The fact is that happened already. So how can we use that for our advantage? How can we not allow that thing that's happening to go to waste? How can we use it to help us either build a better life or to become a better person? So just trust the timing of your life and trust that things are happening for you. And it's not that easy. It's a slow process. It's kind of like a muscle. You go to the gym, you lift weights, you start with 10 pounders, you build your way up. You have to start small and then slowly, before you know it, you're going to be an unshakable optimist too.
I agree with that. It's self-coaching. It starts here. And a good friend of mine and my sister were always living in the past. And I would always say to them all the time, the past is history. Let it go. The past is history. And then they'd say, okay, well, let me focus on my goals. And I'd be like, okay, the future is a mystery. You don't know if you're going to have a future. I don't know. We only have this. So the present is the gift. And I kept repeating that. It was like a mantra. And the more I said it to other people, I remember, the more I breathed it in. So if my brain would go to the past, which it does, I'm human, I go, wait, done. If it goes to the future, I'm like, wait, don't know a thing about that. And I literally do my best to live in the moment. The moment is the gift. So I love that. And I do agree with you. Oh, I have goosebumps. It does make the unshakable optimist. I have friends and family all the time that go, oh, you see the good in everything. If you look for the good, you see the good, right? And I was not always like this. Corporate America had trained me to be a firefighter. Problem, here I come with my fire hat. Now I'm like, all right, just breathe. Whatever's unveiling in front of me is unveiling. I don't need to try and change everything. And it's such a more peaceful way of living. I'm curious, can you share an example maybe of like a client that you helped and where they were before and where they were after on the journey? Because the work you do sounds fantastic.
Yeah, of course, I'd love to. So, I go through this process. It's very simple, right? And I think you're like that too. You like to simplify things. People teach things that seem so complicated, but the fact is that a lot of things are so simple. Maybe not as easy to get yourself to do it, but it's simple. So I worked with this woman who came to me and she said, "Okay, I want to do something. I feel like I'm not good at anything. I feel like nothing brings me joy." Right? I've said that so many times. I'm not passionate about anything. And the fact is that we are the way we are for a reason. We like the things we like for a reason. We have this personality traits for a reason. We are meant to use those things, do things our way. So this is what I tell women. If you start with what you know, you'll know where to start. So make a list of things, some even one thing. What's one thing you know that you love? There has to be something, right? And don't judge it. Don't say, I love cooking, but how is that going to do anything? How is that going to make a difference? Everyone cooks, and we come up with all these things. Think of something that you know. So for her, she said that, I really love photography. I just like to walk around, go outside, take a walk, take pictures. I said, okay, great. That's something you know that you love. Now think of three things you can do related to that, right? So she came up with, I'm going to take a course, a photography course. I'm going to start a meetup of local moms that like photography. So three things you can do with that thing that you know that brings you joy. And then she went to a local community college and she took a photography course and she met another lady there who was trying to create a cookbook. She was a cook, and so they collaborated. She cooked the meals and my client took the pictures and they came up with a book together. And since then she's gotten so many other opportunities. So you never know where things will lead you. But if you start with what you know, one thing will lead to another, right? Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. We don't know where to start, but just start with what you know.
That is some pretty powerful advice. I really want our audience to breathe that in. Start with what you know. And I love that you keep it simple and keep it basic. I'm fascinated when people are trying to figure out their niche or what business they should start. And I had a client recently, he's like, I'm going to coach Fortune 100 companies. I'm going to be a business coach. I said, that's great. Have you ever had your own business? No. Do you know people in Fortune 100 companies? No. Have you ever taken any coaching courses before you call yourself a coach? No. Okay. Best advice ever, telling everyone, that client and everyone included, start with what you know, right? Start with what you know. And we finally drilled down, and here's what he knows and knows really, really well. He knows how to help a restaurant that's having trouble recover and change their business model. And it's everything from online QR codes, takeout, I mean, everything. And he's done that, although in a corporate capacity. So do you know how to do that? Oh yeah, I don't even have to think about that. Great. Do you know restaurant owners? Yeah, I know tons of them. That's the same advice. Start with what you know. And it was interesting because he was looking for, I don't know what. And then as we put these pieces together, like a jigsaw puzzle, starting with what he knew, he got very excited and was happy to go out and start contacting companies. So that's some of the best advice. Zee, before we continue, tell people again where they can connect with you, find you, because you're a wealth of information.
Oh, thank you, Terry. My website is zeenajarian.com. And right now I have a training on how to start creating a life that you love. So if you go to zeenajarian.com/dream life, you can get that for free. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Zee Najarian.
Great. I love it. So it's dream life, and that's what people want. So what do you think is the number one challenge that is in people's way of really living the life they want, that dream life, being authentic? What's the number one thing that stops them in your experience?
Yeah, from what I've seen, the number one thing with women is that they are afraid of what people are going to think when they start doing something that really brings them joy, right? What are my kids going to think? I feel selfish taking that time away. What's my partner, my wife, my husband, my boyfriend, whoever, what are they gonna think? What are my parents gonna think? What are my high school friends from like 20 years ago who I only see on social media gonna think? So we go about our life worried about what people are going to think of us, and then at the end of our life, people their lives, people have said that I realized no one was ever thinking of me.
Right.
And so I always tell women, you know, okay, then keep living the same life that you're living and nothing's going to change. If that's what you want to do, keep doing the same things and you'll get the same life you've had so far. If you want something different, you need to do things differently. We need to stop caring about, it's so silly. We're adults and we're caring about what other adults think, and they're also caring about what we think about them. And it's just really silly. Just do the things that bring you joy, and then you will inspire the people around you to do the same. It's so liberating. When you shine your light, you give other people the chance, the opportunity to do the exact same thing.
I'll speak to that too. I agree with that so much. When I left my corporate job and started coaching and consulting, I just became a different person, truly, because I wasn't putting on facades. You could see the authentic Terry. And I cannot believe how many friends, family, former colleagues, co-workers were like, I want what you have. I want what you have. And so people ask me all the time, you got 30 clients in 30 days. What did you do? Like, I just shared my joy, my excitement, my passion. And all of a sudden, I kind of became a role model for folks that wanted what I had. And really, for me, that was living an authentic life. It was time freedom. And it was doing something that I felt was really of high service. President of a national healthcare company, was all about cutting costs and increasing productivity. It wasn't even about the patient care, which is the reason I left. So I really encourage, if you're listening or you're watching us or you're even reading the blog post, just as we talked about in the beginning, there's no accident, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I really believe that. However, it's up to us to open our eyes and to say, oh, maybe this is for me. And then take the action so you can reach out, you can connect with Zee, you can get her wonderful freebie, which I'll let her tell about in just a moment one more time. What I really want folks to walk away with is you need some help on this journey. Even for me, I knew I didn't want to be in corporate America. I eventually, as I said, realized, hey, coaching and consulting, and yet I needed a guide on the journey so that I could stay authentic and so that I could start an authentic business and really live that dream life. In fact, I even took I think it was a 14 or 16-week course on living a dream life, which was probably more important in my whole career than getting a PhD, a master's, or a bachelor's. It did more for me. So before we leave, one more time, Zee, please tell everyone how to connect, how to find you. You're a wealth of information and you are an inspiration.
Thank you so much, Terry. I appreciate that. So the website is zeenajarian.com, and if you go to /dream life, it's a free training. It will walk you through the steps. It's a 4-step process on trying to figure out what does your dream life look like, and then how can you start living that right now, exactly where you're at. At the core of my teaching is how to start where you're at in whatever career you're in, and wherever you are in life. You don't have to do anything crazy and drastic. You can start right where you're at. And then I'm on mostly Instagram and Facebook at Zee Najarian.
Oh, you are a delight. I am so glad that we've met. I'm honored to have you on the show. I invite you to also participate, since you are active on Facebook, in our Facebook group, Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine. Our group will just love you, and you just such a wonderful fit to Heartrepreneur. Thank you so much for joining me today, Zee.
Thank you so much, Terry. It's been a pleasure.
Same for me. And then for the viewers, for the listeners, this isn't just about hearing, reading, watching. It is about now taking inspired action. So take a moment and ask yourself, wow, what really resonated with me today? And what inspired action can I take? Of course, I recommend that you connect with Zee. What a great addition to Entrepreneur Radio and TV. And next, our Facebook group, Entrepreneurs with Terry Levine, there's about 5,000 entrepreneurs in there. They're doing business together, they're connecting, and they're creating value. And what I have for you as a viewer, as a listener, as a reader, is as soon as you request to join Entrepreneurs with Terry Levine and you're accepted, immediately go to the documents section. I have uploaded some of the files that I give away to my private clients that will really be helpful for you in your business, in your life, and it's my gift to you. Again, it's Entrepreneurs with Terry Levine, a very active Facebook group of people just like you, like-minded. I thank you for tuning in, and if you are watching this on a platform that allows you to give reviews, allows you to share it, give a thumbs up, whatever, please do that and subscribe to us. We are just excited to be here and to create more content and value for you. Thank you again for joining us here today at Entrepreneur Radio and TV. Bye now.
You've been listening to Entrepreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart with your host, Terry Levine. This show is produced every week for your enjoyment and education. To make sure you never miss a single show, add us to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also read Terry's latest blog posts at www.entrepreneur.com/blog or follow Terry on Twitter at MentorTerry and on Facebook.com/Entrepreneur Terry Levine. Your questions and comments are always welcome and appreciated. Send them to Terry on either Facebook or Twitter. Thank you for listening.